I know there are other clients that email and go, well, I just really need help understanding how to use it. And it doesn't matter how you use it. You can borrow it and use it for anything. People get tripped up thinking, oh, this is just for farming. I don't care if you use it to buy cows or land or equipment, but you can use it to start your business. You can use it to take kids on vacation, braces, whatever. You can use it for all of those things. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you very much for being here, as always. All right, you guys, sharing is caring. Share the podcast with all your friends. And then we can be saving farms together, not just one-on-one. Today, we are blessed to have John Hasche with us. So some of you have already met with John. Those of you that have gone to the website to schedule an appointment with me, you have probably seen that you can also schedule with John. And so we are going to meet John today. And I'm excited. I'm excited for John because John doesn't like to be on podcasts. John is an introvert. He is not like me. But you guys need to know who John is, because if you can't get in with me, you can schedule with him. And so I just want to introduce him today so you guys know who he is, what he's like. And here's just a little introduction. And then we'll get into John. But John has trained with me for 5 years, John?
Yep.
So John has trained with me for 5 years. He is basically a mini Mary Jo without all the attitude. Okay? So look, he even agrees. So yep. John knows everything about infinite banking. He knows everything about farming. He knows all of that stuff because it's also his world. But he doesn't have the attitude. And he's not quite as brash and as honest. He's nicer than I am. And so when you schedule with John, it's not like you're getting somebody that's inexperienced by any stretch of the imagination, because he's been with me for 5 years. So anyway, with that being said, welcome, John.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you. Okay, so John and his dad, Steve has moved on to bigger and better things, but Steve just left us alone. John and Steve originally called me 5 years ago to look at their own stuff on a personal level, and then John became an agent, and since then he has been training. And so John and Steve have an interesting story about why this even caught their eye to begin with. And so, John, do you want to tell that story a little bit?
I guess my family just has a personal experience with life insurance, because when my dad started farming in the early 90s, I suppose it was, my grandpa was 40 years older than him, and he was the youngest child. So I don't even know how old he was when they started farming, but he was significantly older than my dad, and he knew that he wasn't going to be around forever. So he purchased a life insurance policy on my grandpa, and he can't quite remember what exactly it was, but it was some type of whole life, and it was very expensive. One year he said he had to sell his pickup to pay the premium, and I can remember the pickup. It was a red Ford pickup, and he's probably still sad about it. But he sold that pickup to pay his premium. He was ticked off when he read your book because he is confident it was some type of whole life and he could have borrowed his cash value. He didn't know that was a thing at the time. Well, in his case, it ended up, he didn't have to pay for it that long because my grandpa ended up passing away within a few years of that. And he took all that death benefit and he bought all of his farm ground from my grandma. And so he ended up with a bunch of farm ground, and that has completely changed his whole financial world. He's able to do a lot of cool things because he owns that land. He did farm it for a while. He had to retire from farming due to a neck injury, but it's just completely changed his life. So I guess we had some personal experience with life insurance helping us accomplish goals. So
yeah. And they had Charolais cattle.
Yes, we do.
That is exciting because John and I both like the white ones.
Yeah, I'm a big Charolais fan. I used to know a lot about Charlie. I had pedigrees memorized and all that, but I've kind of fallen off a little bit in that regard here the last few years.
That's exciting. That is so okay. That's it. That's actually super interesting that your dad was smart enough to sell his pickup to make that premium payment, because most people, Parkinson's law would win, right? They would be like, oh, I just can't make that premium payment, so I'm going to cancel that policy. And we see that with our own clients. Like they'll get into a year where they just don't understand the concept. And we do have clients that cancel their policies. Like it happens. It's rare, but it happens. And so it's exciting that he understood the power of that death benefit.
Yeah. I'm sure if I really got into it with him, it was a cash flow problem of some kind, or maybe a bad year that year or something. But yeah, he's always had a lot of life insurance in general on himself, and he just knew it was something important. So as soon as he saw a Facebook ad of yours, and I think it was in 2019, he was on it right away. Mm-hmm. And he was the one that got me into it. And so as soon as I read it, I was like, yeah, that's something goes right with my personality.
So then you guys saw the value of it. You started selling. So what people need to understand is that when I say John has trained under me for 5 years, I don't just mean, hey, he knows a couple of things. John sat through meetings with me for 6 months. Yep. 6 months, all day, every single meeting. And so 99% of those strategies that I have, he is also going to have if you meet with him. He may not be, as excited about business opportunities. John, for example, he has one client that is a mortician. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have all these questions about being a mortician. And, John, did you have a bunch of questions about being a mortician?
I'm sure I asked him a couple, but I didn't. It's not that exciting of an industry, I don't think. I didn't want to get too into it.
Oh, see, I think it's super exciting. How are the bodies processed? How do you, what's it called? Cremate. How does that work? How do you make sure it's the right person going back into the right vase? I just have a whole bunch of questions.
He just didn't really want to talk shop, I guess, when we were meeting there. So
yeah. So some people are more apt to talk to me because they don't know what to get with John, which is the whole point of what we're talking about today. So John's dad, they own farm ground. He likes Charolais cattle because they used to have cattle, so he knows about cattle. John helps friends with hogs. He still helps the neighbors with cattle. He just told me today he's available to do a podcast because he is not having to help a friend drive a grain cart. So he'll even drive a grain cart, and that guy always gets yelled at. The grain cart guy always gets yelled at. So
I can take a beating. I can take some yelling.
Oh, this is good to know. I did not know that. I'm going to put the hammer down.
Yeah.
So he understands that industry. And there are some things about the farming industry that John actually knows better than I do, like commodity prices. John also sells crop insurance. So when I watch John handle a meeting, he will ask about how many bushels per acre people are getting. You will never hear me ask how many bushels per acre, because I frankly just don't care what your bushels per acre are. I want to know what your profit is. And so he understands all of that.
Well, so, we meet with people from all over the country. So it's just kind of interesting to see what people can grow and where they can grow it at. So I just had a meeting this morning with a guy who grew 10 different crops this year. So it's
10?
Yeah.
What's he growing?
Couldn't even list them all off because he couldn't keep them straight. But grass seed, he did sod, and then a bunch of different small greens.
Was he in the Northwest?
Yeah, he was in Oregon.
Yeah, that's a typical crop for them over there. But do you see the difference then because people will care to know about this minus me. What are the bushel differences? Are they significant from Iowa to Western South Dakota or?
In South Dakota, we have a big swing from the west side of the state to the east side even. But where I'm on the eastern side of South Dakota, kind of by Brookings, and if we have a good weather year, we can grow pretty good crops, well over 200 bushel corn and stuff like that. So usually I'm asking somebody what they grow when they're over in Illinois or Iowa, and it's a huge number just because it's interesting to me. But like soybeans, I mean, they can grow 65, 70 bushel soybeans in their sleep. We can't do that. So that's impressive to me, I guess.
Yeah, I did forget to mention that John's in South Dakota.
Yeah.
So I would consider us to be neighbors because he is not all the way across the country. But he does understand people from all over as well. So let's just pick out one thing that has really like stuck out to you that you can see amongst clients, like that new people coming in. What is the big thing that you think that they should understand? Just maybe their business or infinite banking or...
Well, even the people I met with this morning, I think it's just people get overwhelmed by the whole concept sometimes. And even when you're going through a meeting with them, it's a lot of information all at once. But really, if you reread the books and kind of have a grasp there, once you're done having a meeting with us, when you kind of strip everything away, it's really not that complicated of a concept. And then, of course, the people that are good with numbers anyways, they always have a little easier time. But just not to overcomplicate things, it's really a pretty simple process. You just got to take the time to learn about it.
Yeah. Like Nate says, it's really simple when you quit making it so hard.
Exactly. Smart man.
Because at the end of the day, and I just got off the phone with a potential client as well. And I know there are other clients that email and go, well, I just really need help understanding how to use it. And it doesn't matter how you use it, right? You can borrow it and use it for anything. And so I think a lot of people get tripped up thinking, oh, this is just for farming. Well, I don't care if you use it to buy cows or land or equipment, but you can use it to start your business. You can use it to take kids on vacation, braces, whatever. You can use it for all of those things. John could use it to go to an Alabama game because, yeah, I heard they lost last week and you are not happy about it.
I'm not ready to talk about it yet. It's embarrassing. I'm from a town, we just never really won a lot. So that's the reason I root for them is I want to feel like a winner, So when you lose, it's just tough.
I do not watch football. So I do not talk to John about football ever. But I do know that he's an Alabama guy. And so I heard in our agent training, because I have a couple other agents that are working with me, I heard in our agent training that John's team got beat. And John was not there to defend himself. Yeah. So kind of sad.
I can't speak on it yet.
It was just one loss. Do they lose a lot?
No, that's the bad part.
Okay. All right. So John likes football. There's something else that you like.
Golf. I love golf.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I should have remembered. He golfs every Wednesday. I just put
a golf simulator in my house here. I live in a shed house, and I just put a simulator in so me and my buddies can play all winter long.
So is it a big projector?
Yeah, big projector, big screen. I just went to a website that you can walk through the whole process, and it helps you get all the right equipment and everything. But piece of turf, projector, and a big screen to hit into is basically all you need.
So John and I differ there too. I don't watch football. I don't play golf. I like to shoot things. John doesn't really like to shoot guns. I'm not
a big hunter. Yeah, that's not very good at it.
Yeah, I'm not good at it either, but I actually quite suck at it. But it's fun to shoot. And so
I don't mind shooting. I'm just not into the hunting.
Yeah, well, I don't. The hunting is a little bit much for me as well. I'm not going to go walk all day just to see pheasants a mile in front of me and then they are all gone. Like that, I don't have the patience for that. It's kind of like fishing. I go to catch. When I go hunting, I go to kill something. I'm not going for a walk. That's not the purpose of why I'm out there. All right. Well, anything else that you want us to know about you?
Oh, I don't know. I'm a pretty simple guy, really. I just kind of do my thing. I like meeting with everybody from all over the country. That's the thing I like most, I guess, is it's just fun to see where people are from and what they do in all the different areas of the country. And just the more you learn about different types of businesses that people do, it's really interesting to see what little niche things people do in the ag world that they do make money. So that's fun. That's really fun to learn. So, but yeah, other than that,
we're
pretty
gaining
simple
all
guy.
kinds of experience sitting behind our little desks. We can hear about what everybody is doing all over the country.
Yeah, it is fun.
It's exciting. It's exciting. Okay. We will probably have John on here from time to time, just so that he can share information and stories and that kind of stuff too. But if you guys are on the website and you're looking and saying, oh my God, Mary Jo, you're booked out 3 months. I don't have 3 months to wait. Then you can book with John. And guess what? You're still my client. You still get invited to all of our client summits. John is there. He helps you with strategies. You have access to him. It is not, if you do not want to wait, you absolutely can visit with him. If you want somebody that's sassy, then you're going to probably want to wait. Okay.
Well, if somebody puts in a special request for that, I can accommodate, but it's just not my
there we go. Request John with sassiness. We're going to put 2 calendars up on the website. Regular John
there's
and
a place for
sassy
notes
John.
there. We can just, special request.
All right, guys. If you don't want to wait, schedule with John. Otherwise, you know the routine. If you have comments, questions, concerns, Mary Jo at withoutthebank.com. Grab your book and read it. Here is what I am already booked until, I believe, December. I'm booking out to right now. It is October as we record this. So I am booking out to December. There are only so many months of winter. Okay. If you want to have your policy premium due in the winter, when you are selling grain, when you are selling cows or calves, then make sure you're not waiting to meet with me until March, because then your policy is not going to be due till May. There's always going to be a couple months lag time from when we meet to when your policy is due. And that's going to depend on how fast you move on your side. And so if you want to get that all in and John's calendar is open, do not be scared to book with him, because you will be in good hands. All right. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Make sure that you share this. Otherwise, you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to the Farming Without the Bank podcast. We hope today's episode has inspired you to take control of your finances in new ways. Don't forget to check out our website, farmingwithoutthebank.com, and engage with us on our Facebook page, Farming Without the Bank. Join us next week as we smash more financial myths and empower you to accomplish your financial goals.